Let's go, guys. Welcome back to Hightop Baseball. Guys, a great weekend of Gator baseball for the boys. We head down to Coral Gables. What many people across the country were calling the best offense in college baseball, that Miami team. The boys just took care of them, right? An absolute shellacking. I think they were praying for rain Saturday night so they didn't have to come out and get swept on Sunday, man. The boys looked great. We're going to dive into those Friday, Saturday games. Hey, just a quick little update. I'm trying to put a little bit more structure into some of these game notes and stuff that we go through. So I'm going to start taking game notes while I'm watching the game. I'll post those on my Twitter, but we'll also start walking through those here to kind of start that single day recap. So we'll do game notes, then we'll dive over into the box score like we always do. I'll pull some highlights that we can see over on X and Twitter. We'll dive into our advanced metrics, our QABs, and then we'll talk about the solely post game. So it's kind of the structure you can expect moving forward. We'll talk Friday, Saturday this week. We'll talk FIU or FAU. We'll talk Florida A&M, which are our Tuesday, Wednesday games this week. We'll kind of take a look at the season stats so far. So really good stuff, man. Gator boys are 11-1. Great weekend of baseball against a really good baseball team. The Miami Hurricanes, man, are a solid baseball team. So really good to see how we played, man. Let's dive into it. A couple things before we get into the Friday game. Going into these weekend series, right, especially as we start to play this tougher competition when we get into the SEC play, we're going to start having like keys to the game, right? I think when you're playing a UAB, a Kennesaw State, right, you just go out and play your game. The keys to the game isn't that important. But for this weekend, right, going into Miami, one of the things we had talked about was those three power bats on the Miami side, right? Derek Williams, Alex Sosa, Daniel Cuvet, right? Making sure we can kind of hold them back, right? Not let them be swinging it as good as they were so far to start the season. And just a quick review of that key to the game, right? Derek Williams had a good weekend, 4 for 8, had a nice little home run. He had a good weekend at the plate. The other two, though, Alex Sosa, 1 for 8. And then you have Daniel Cuvet, right? Arguably the best third baseman in college baseball, preseason first team All-American. I mean, you're talking one of the best bats in all of college baseball, 0 for 7 across Friday and Saturday. And that's one of those stats, man. If you showed me that Thursday night going into this weekend series, man, Daniel Cuvet 0 for 7 against the Florida Gators, I'd have told you great job. Hey, you did your job. We're going to win those two games, man. That's absolutely how you hold these guys back. Definitely had them circled in the lineup. You can tell we were pitching him like he's their best hitter, which he is. And the boys absolutely took care of business. So really good stuff there. We'll keep kind of implementing these keys to the game as we go into these weekend series. All right. And then one last thing before we get into that Friday game. Something I was kind of looking at as I was scrolling through box scores from the season so far. And it's going to be a stat, right? I'm not going to add it to our advanced metrics yet, but it's something we're going to be looking at as we go through these games, right? And it's the idea of crooked innings, right? And a lot of coaches you'll hear say, hey, if we can limit the crooked innings, if we can have more crooked innings than the other team does in terms of when we're on offense. And a crooked inning is anytime you score 2 or more runs in an inning, right? So you let 1 run score, that's fine. Limit the damage, stop the bleeding, get out of there. The second you get that second run across, right, that's going to be considered a crooked inning. And I went ahead and just pulled all of our box scores. This is all the games up through the Miami series this weekend. You can see the red circles are crooked innings of our opponent. The green circles are crooked innings for us. And it's just, obviously there's like the weight of a crooked inning, right? So if you look at 224, so right here, right, that FIU game, they had 4 crooked innings compared to our 3, right? And then they out-hit us, right? This is a game that a lot of runs scored. But 2 of our crooked innings were both 7 runs, 14 runs total across 2 crooked innings. So there's definitely, like, if you have a bigger crooked inning against maybe some of these lesser opponents. But outside of that, man, you go to game 1 right there on the top left, right? UAB has more crooked innings than we do, and then they beat us, right? And then I don't think we lose a crooked inning one the rest of the way. Obviously, outside of that FIU one we just talked about, but outside of that, man, we're winning the crooked innings battle, right? You're winning the freebie battle. Right? These are just kind of metrics and stuff that we're going to be looking at and continuing to talk about moving forward. So I want to go ahead and just show you guys, kind of catch us up on all the games, and then moving forward, right? This crooked innings idea is a stat that we'll absolutely be looking at and talking about. All right, so let's dive into that Friday game. So these are things that I just put in my notes app, right? I got 3 kids. I got a wife. We're making dinner. We're not always just sitting on the couch watching these games. So I try to take notes so I can remember kind of things I want to go back and talk about. A lot of the times I'll say, hey, go back and rewatch these plays, right? I want to get a better look some of these pop-ups, some of these errors we're talking about. I want to go and get a better look at them, so I'll come back and watch them later. So I figured I'd start sharing these with you guys. I'll clean them up a little bit. A lot of these are going to be just more talking points than anything, right? Maybe um, good days at the plate, right? Home runs, stuff like that kind of jump off a box score. So I don't really feel like they need to be added to a game note. Whereas like this is more of, hey, we're sack bunting, hey, good block behind the plate, little stuff like that. So let's dive into the game notes from Friday. Good 7-2 win over Miami. Lawson home run, right? To second, I think Kyle Jones grounded out, and then Lawson just takes one to Oppo Taco deep left field. I mean, the kid is so good at the plate. He is so fun to watch hit. I'm not sure he's had a down day at the plate yet. So just a lot of fun to watch. One of the best hitters in college baseball just continue to be absolutely red hot. Liam, right? Another 4-pitch walk again to start a game. This has been a problem for him. But he figured this one out quickly, right? A 4-pitch walk, then the guy steals second. And so we're all like, oh man, here we go. And strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. And I mean, it was just all day strikeout, strikeout, strike. I mean, the kid finished with 8. But just poised and dominant recovery by Liam. Really love to watch that. Bit of a pitching duel, right? Florida scored 5 runs in the 8th on this one. So it was a big pitching duel most of the game. Patience pays off, right? I think that UAB outing for Liam, a lot of people upset, a lot of people saying, hey, these, and they're not wrong, right? These are issues that he's dealt with in the past, right? Being able to throw strikes, getting maybe a little over emotional in big moments, and kind of losing his control. It's something he's dealt with. But a lot of the national media and even some Gator fans, man, were, hey, move him out of the Friday slot, send him to the bullpen, bench him, teach him a lesson, right? No. Patience pays off. This is one of the best pitchers in college baseball, and the kid's going to shove. So just let the horse run. So really good to see stuff there. But Carson Bowen, this is one of those game notes that I write down as a talking point. He continues to save so many free bases, so many runs from behind the plate. I mean, the dirt balls that he's blocking. I mean, some of these are in the other batter's box in the dirt off speed that are hard to block. And there's just nothing gets past this kid. And I think it was the Friday game where he threw a runner out at second. I mean, his defensively behind the plate, it's been amazing. And at the plate, right? Hitting as well. He's had a really good year so far too. So really good stuff there out of Carson Bowen. Questionable pitch calling, pitch sequencing. I wasn't a pitcher, so I'm sure there's people out there that can talk much better to this than I can. But this was the inning. I think it was the 6th inning when Liam got pulled. It felt like we were just repeating pitches too much, right? He threw a lot of curveballs back to back to back to back to one of the kids. And I believe he ended up hitting a base hit, a single or something into right center. It's because it was like the 4th or 5th curveball in a row that he had seen. And then Barberry comes in, and Barberry threw a couple of the same pitches in a row. And some pitchers say, hey, if it's beating them, don't stop throwing it. But then you're also right. You've changed their speeds up on them. You've changed their eye levels up on them. They're going to get used to seeing that pitch over and over again. So just a question mark, right? Maybe no one's upset with this. That was just something I wanted to bring up. Maybe a questionable pitch sequencing there in the 6th inning, which unfortunately resulted in those 2 runs that Liam gave up. So Caden McDonald, we finally get to see. I think it was his 2nd at bat of the season. Huge at bat, gets an RBI. Really good stuff to see there. 7-2 bottom of the 9th. So this is one of those moments where we're coming in, right? We're up 5. So outside of something crazy happening, you're going to win the game. But the question is, can we keep momentum, right? Or are you going to give up a couple hits? They're going to play a run or 2, right? Maybe we win this game 7-4, 7-5, but you lose that momentum, right? You even give them some confidence in their bats going into Saturday. So my kind of question mark there was, are we going to let up? Or are we going to keep the momentum? And man, we stepped on their throats, right? And just absolutely shut that game down. So really good stuff to see there. Barberry has looked amazing so far. Easily our closer, right? When these big games, big moments arise. And it's cool to see that he kind of assumes that Neely, that Jake Clemente, right? Sully's always wanted his closers to eat multiple innings when necessary. And he's not scared to bring these guys in big moments in the 6th or 7th inning when these games are on the line and really feel like maybe a big turning point. So Barberry's looked great. And then the cutoff here at the bottom, I'll figure out a best way to get these to fit. But Brandon Lawson, really nice play at shortstop on the final out of the game, right? So we've been talking about it a lot. We've been watching it. Something we'll talk about in the Saturday game as well in my game notes. But Brendan Lawson being able to play short, really nice play at defensively at shortstop to close that game out on Friday. So good stuff there. Those are our game notes for the game. All right, we're going to dive over to the box score. See here, 7-2. Good guys, right? They out hit us though, 8-7 actually. So, and again, right, let's go back and look at it. Cricket innings, 1-1 technically here, right? Because Miami gets a 2, we get a 5, but our cricket inning was bigger, right? And so being able to stop the bleeding on these innings where you're starting to see runs come across the plate. I mean, obviously, right, you score more runs, you win games, but seems pretty straightforward. But got to be able to stop the bleeding, got to be able to kind of slow these guys down as they start to plate some runs. So not the best night at the plate for Kyle Jones. He was 0 for 4 with the walk. And I believe that actually translated as well to QABs. I think he was 1 for 5 on the night in QABs. So not the best night at the plate, right? But he still had a good week and a couple big hits on Saturday. So good stuff there. Brendan Lawson, 3 for 3, 3 runs scored, 6 total bases, a home run, 2 RBIs, 1 hit by pitch. Easily one of the best hitters in college baseball. Kid is absolutely red hot. I think they're already claiming him to be maybe the first bat taken in the 2027 draft, right? Long way to go, but kid's absolutely hitting like the whole country and all the Gator Nation knows he can and expects him to. Ethan Surwick, 2 for 3, a run scored, 2 total bases, 1 walk. Kids slotted into that 3-hole. Saturday we'll talk about it as well, but the Ethan's bat's woken up, and that's one of those reasons, right? We're watching these QABs. I think first couple games, right, that first weekend into the weekday series, Ethan's bat hadn't necessarily woken up yet, but you saw the QABs were there, right? And that's kind of that's why we kind of look at that metric is, hey, it might not be showing up in the box score, but it's coming, right? And for Ethan Surwick, it was coming and it has arrived. The kid's swinging it so well. Carson Bowen 0 for 4 with a run scored, right? Not the best night to plate for him. Castrayer 0 for 2, 2 ribbies and a walk and a sac fly. He's just been hitting the ball so well. Sully has so much confidence in him that we're leaving a lefty in the lineup when there's a lefty on the mound on the other side, right? You saw Kendall kind of get pulled from the lineup. You knew Brennan Lawson would stay in there. The question was, hey, are we going to keep Strayer in lefty? And Sully trusts the kid, and he produced on Saturday too. So really good stuff there. We saw Landon Stripling back in the game. 0 for 3 there. We talked to the Caden McDonald at bat, right? He gets one at bat, 1 hit, and an RBI. Jacob Kindle 1 for 4 with that monster home run. And while we're on Jacob Kindle, I mean, lefties always get that benefit of the doubt on these prettier swings, man. But this kid has an absolutely beautiful stroke, and so we got to watch it. Right, just absolutely beautiful. Stays through it. Good extension. He parked this one in the parking garage, man. Really, really cool stuff to see out of Jacob Kindle there. I saw his dad talking on Facebook. I think he said they were training here a couple weeks ago down at this field, and to see him kind of put one into that parking garage is just so cool for him. And right, as a dad, I couldn't imagine that. So really good stuff, man. I love watching Jacob Kindle swing, man. It's absolutely beautiful. And while we're on these highlights, man, let's come back to that Brendan Lawson top of the first inning, 1 out, 1-0 count, and just goes backside with it. So pretty. I thought this was going to be a double. I didn't expect the power. I mean, that ball is so gone. That ball was absolutely smoked backside. Just really, really good stuff out of, again, we're going to keep saying it, one of the best hitters in college baseball, Brendan Lawson. All right, we'll keep cranking down. Colt Myers, right, 0 for 4. Not the best day at the plate for him. We'll get into QABs there and talk through that. But let's scroll down to pitching. Liam Peterson, right? We talked about it in the game notes. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Both of those coming in that 6th inning, right? One of them, the second one, actually coming with Barberry on the mound, right? But he was responsible for the runner still on base. So 1 walk, just that leadoff 4-pitch walk. So to see that recovery, right? It's kind of why I put that in the game note. The kid just bounced back, didn't walk another batter after the leadoff hitter, and punched 8. So just dominant stuff, absolutely dominant stuff out of Liam Peterson. Then we see Barberry come in, and he goes 3 1/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And to see only 2 pitchers in a Friday game against competition like Miami, right, that opened our bullpen up to be ready to throw Saturday. I believe it's why Caden McDonald got the start Saturday, right, as we knew we probably didn't need his arm, right? We could afford to put him in the lineup and see how his bat's looking because we had the arms ready in the bullpen to eat Saturday innings. And it's just really good stuff out of this pitching staff Friday against, again, what many people were saying is probably the best offense in college baseball. Definitely was so far, right? We talked about they weren't playing the best competition, but they were putting runs up. They were doing what you'd expect to do against that lower competition. Miami's a good team, man. It's a good offense, and to see the way these pitchers dominated Friday night was a lot of fun to watch. And scrolling down to defense, right? No errors, nothing to talk about there. So what we're going to talk about on the defensive side is this big league web gym from Ethan Surwick at third base. And that's just nasty. Full extension, ball hopped up on him a little bit. Get up, make the throw. Nasty, nasty stuff. Let's see if they'll give us a replay on this because this was absolutely filthy. Surwick's been playing the corners a lot, man. I think he plays well on both sides, but when your gloves like this, man, how do you not keep that at third? Get up, make the throw on the money. Really, really good stuff out of Ethan Surwick on Friday night. All right, so that'll do it for the box score. Let's jump over to the advanced metrics. Before we get into it, guys, it's official. All right, we're going to change quality starts. This is, I think, the third time this year where we've kind of negotiated with it. We're going to do it. So quality starts, right, in the past was 6-inning pitch, 3 earned runs or less. With the way pitching is these days, these guys just aren't going as far as they were. We've had too many situations already this year where starters have been pulled in that 6th inning, right, but they don't get the full 6, right? They're 5 and some change. So we're gonna add a different rule where if you go 5 innings and 2 earned runs, right? So it's not that 3, you still got to keep them to 2, but 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. It's actually, I think, added 2 quality starts for us already on the year. But so let's talk about Friday, right? QAB's 514, pretty good night at the plate. Miami's pitching was pretty impressive as well, right? We talked pitching duel. Saturday, they had that little lefty that was snapping some pretty good off speed. So good stuff from the Miami side on the mound, but right, the bat stayed hot. Right, we scored 7 runs on Friday night, 514 on QABs, which is above average. That'll win you ball games. First man on offense, 2 for 9, not great. 222, it's just not good. Right, it needs to be a little better, but it's not always the most telling when it comes to runs. Right, you can get a guy on with 1 out, bring him in, home run, stuff like that. So 2 for 9 could be better. Quality start, we finally get the yes here. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. We're going to give Liam a quality start here. And hey, we're going to give Liam the game ball as well, right? Just the way that this season started for this kid, the noise he heard around national media, right? Being one of the top players in the entire country, projected top 10, 15 pick in this MLB draft, right? The noise was loud. And this is now second start in a row where Liam's kind of come out and shut everyone up and reminded them who he is. So really good stuff there, man. Liam, great job. Game ball to you Friday night. First man on defense, 5 for 9. That's not good from our standpoint. Really good for Miami. So really good job by our pitching to kind of allow that first man on, but limit, right? Go ahead and strike a lot of guys out, end innings without run scoring. So good stuff there. And then our freebie battle, right? So we walked 2 guys, zeros across the board the rest of the way. So 2 freebies for Florida. 3 walks, a hit by pitch, and an error for Miami. 5-2, Florida wins the freebie battle. Florida wins the game. And once again, right, all season so far, if we win the freebie battle, we win the game. If we lose the freebie battle, we lose the game. And the one time we tied the freebie battle in the past, right, we'll talk about Saturday, but in the past before this Miami weekend, the one time we tied the freebie battle, we also won that game, right? So our bats are going to be able to pick us up. Just got to make sure we don't lose the freebie battle. So that's our advanced metrics for Friday. And then quality at bats. Brendan Lawson, 4 for 4, 100% on the night with quality at bats. Really good stuff. Strayer, 3 for 4. Surwick, 3 for 4. Kendall, 2 for 4. Bowen, 2 for 4. Katie McDonald in his 1 at bat, 1 for 1. Stripling, Sear, Myers, Jones are not the best nights at the plate for them. It's going to be expected, right? As this better pitching, we take that step up to the next tier of pitching. In competition. So good nights from some people, not the best nights from others, right? 7-2 win for the Gators. We got the job done. All right. And then last thing we'll talk on Friday night, Sully's post-game comments. Told the players how proud he was of them for his composure, right? Especially after they tied it in that 6th inning, 2-2. He was really proud of the defense they played. Couldn't have asked for anything more from Liam. Just absolutely outstanding. Jackson, great as well. Ran the base as well. No errors. Again, just proud of these guys, right? To go down to Coral Gables, a rowdy crowd, and just kind of keep your composure and get the job done. So really good stuff there, right? We talked Miami pitching. Siskar, the Friday night starter for Miami, pitched really well, right? Changeups to lefties, sliders to righties. He was doing his job there. Kendall got a mistake on a pitch, right, and parked it in the parking garage, which kind of got us going that inning, which was really good to see. So Miami pitching was impressive, and with the bats they have, right, they're going to compete in the ACC. They're a really, really good ball club, top 25 ball club. So Jackson Barberry, right, long inning. He went out and did his job. Penn's going to be fresh. Barberry done for the weekend, right, if we were to play Sunday and then Saturday. But Penn was fresh going into Saturday. They knew they were going to extend Barberry rest of game once he came in. And they had McNeely and Sandifer ready to go Saturday. And we didn't see either of them on Saturday as well. So there's a reason Miami did those rain dances Saturday night, Sunday morning, because they saw our bullpen was still fresh and they had a sweep coming towards them. So last one right here, right on the team. They go on the road for the first time against a team that's feeling really good about themselves. Right now, the first time we go on the road, but first time we went on the road against a competition equal to us. And a Miami team that was feeling really good about themselves. A lot of hype, a lot of offense that they've been pumping out, undefeated. And then we just showed a lot of confidence. Sully said moxie and poise. So he was really pleased with them. No panic. Really good to see out of the guys this early in the season. And then Sully said, right, hey, it's March, right? February, March when these games are played. This doesn't tell you how this team's going to be playing in May. It just tells you that we have a ceiling, Omaha ceiling, right? We have a ceiling where we can be playing our best ball in May. Now is the time when we kind of figure things out and then prepare ourselves to be doing that. So good 7-2 win on Friday night. All right, let's jump over to the Saturday game. And we're going to start with game notes. So good 8-4 win right out of the boys. We took the series. Series is over going into Sunday, which you always love to see there. Really nice play by Miller on that leadoff, right? So it was a chopper to his right. Obviously, your leadoff hitter on Miami's up, so he's going to have speed. He's got wheels. And Miller kind of makes a nice little backhand, gets it out quick, throws it on a line. So really nice play by Miller there to start the game, and enough to where I went and wrote it down. Then a couple plays later, right, you get that error on him, kind of playing near the shortstop position, and you get the error, and then he ends up kind of walking the ball back. I think he was upset that he made the error, kind of walks it back into the pitcher, right? And a good eyes up, that runner on second takes third because no one's there. And those eyes up, man, those are teaching moments. You get a kid playing T-ball, you playing like that lower level competitive when they're still young. You can take eyes up. You can take extra bases on these kids all day. And you shouldn't see it in high school, much less college and on a level of Gator baseball college. But definitely a mental mistake there on Sam. I know he wasn't happy about it. And I kind of posted, right, I hope he gets a chance to go out and make up for that, because it kind of seems like it's baseball, right? When you make an error like that, you give up a free base, you're going to get an at-bat with a chance for RBIs, right? It's just kind of how baseball works. It's the beauty of the sport. And we'll talk about, right, later on, he gets a chance to drive in a run, and he does it, which is really good to see. So not the best mental night out of Sam there in that first inning, but right, when you look back on an 8-4 win, that's okay. These are learning moments for now. We'd talk a little bit more about them if we lost, but no worries. Bases loaded, less than 2 outs, right? And let's start over. Bases loaded, no outs. Had it twice, or at least twice, right, on Saturday night. One inning, we have bases loaded and McDonald strikes out. You have bases loaded, no outs, or bases loaded, 1 out. You can't strike out. It's the only thing you can't do, right? 1 out, you can maybe ground into a double play. That'll end your inning. Not ideal. No outs, ground into a double play, you score a run. Elevate a pop-up and score a run. I mean, just anything but strike out. And to see McDonald and Myers both strike out with bases loaded, less than 2 outs. And then jump down, skip that 4-run response, right? Again, we get a Kendall and a Kyle Jones strikeout, bases loaded, less than 2 outs. So when we're looking at this freebies, and I'll hold it until we talk advanced metrics. But when you just look at what we did at the plate with the bases loaded, less than 2 outs, right? Not good, not ideal. Probably should have scored more runs than the 8 that we scored. One of those stats where, hey, if you're not coming through and producing runs in these moments, you're probably not going to win that ball game. So really good that the boys still pulled it out. Definitely need to be a little better, but again, maybe that's common nowadays baseball, right? Back in my day, we didn't like to strike out a lot. We were okay with backside singles, and these days it's home runs and strikeouts, right? And you see it all the way up into the big leagues as well. It's home runs and strikeouts, and when that's kind of the philosophy on an offense, then and it's not for the Gators, right? We're not a home run leaning, home run heavy team. This team can slap the ball around, plays good baseball offensively. But when you have bases loaded, less than 2 outs, striking out cannot happen. Happened 4 times on Saturday night. So again, right, lesson learned, right? And again, Saturday, once again, not the cleanest game from us, pretty sloppy, which has been a pretty recurring thing from this Gator team. So good to see that we were able to kind of fight for a W even despite the sloppiness. 4-run response after going down 0-3, right? So you get the mistake, you get the error. Then it results in a Derek Williams home run, 3-0. Miami's going crazy. Very easy to kind of turtle, to bounce back and score 4 runs in that top of the second to take the lead. I mean, you could hear the wind just sucked out of that Miami dugout, that Miami crowd, the bleachers, right? Absolutely, really, really good stuff to see that response out of the guys. I know Sully was proud of that. So we talked Kendall and Jones. King hurt, right? And I put panic, all caps, panic. You saw him looking at his hand. We were thinking cramping. We were thinking blisters. I was texting some buddies that were at the games like, hey, what are you guys seeing? Is it blisters? What's happening here? And all right, blisters aren't ideal, especially on the pitching hand, right? Because those can take a long time to come back. And if you don't let those heal all the way, it's something you'll deal with for a long time. So update ended up just being cramps, right? I think Sully had said his middle finger and his forearm on his throwing hand was cramping up a little bit, as expected, right? We've had a very cold spring so far, especially in Gainesville. It's been really cold. And so heading down to Miami as the warmth starts to come back to Florida, humid night, right? Kind of the first game where King's going to be pitching in that humidity. So you expect to see some cramping and stuff like that early. Obviously, they'll get used to it as the spring rolls in. I think cold's gone at this point. So bodies should start to adjust and stuff like that. Make sure you're staying hydrated. But it looks like it was just some cramping, and Sully wasn't going to play any games with that. So go ahead and pull him out. And the broadcasters were talking about it, right? You go as a bullpen pitcher, right? You're sitting on your butt. 10 minutes later, you're in the game with runners on. I mean, the way Ricky Reith came into this game, got ready, and just absolutely 8 innings. I mean, how many did he throw this day? He threw 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. I mean, Ricky Reith, I put very impressive. And then once he ended up getting pulled, I saw his whole, I just edit, amazing. Man, Ricky Reith, absolutely amazing. And we got a highlight for it, right? Ricky Reith, bottom of the 6th, K's the side. Nasty stuff. I mean, you see that little hop. Kid's confident. He was really feeling his stuff on Saturday night. Absolutely one of these transfers that came in, and we expected to be an important piece out of the bullpen. I mean, he's been everything that and more, right? Him and Ernesto have just kind of been these dudes that have been coming in, eating innings, dominant stuff. Ricky Reith coming in after King gets surprisingly pulled mid-inning to just come in and eat 4 innings like he did and keep this really good Miami offense at bay. Just really, really good stuff out of Ricky Reith. Okay, so next game note. Was Jones ready for that tag up on the throw, right? So I think this is what tied the game. What inning was that? I think it was the 5th, right? This is what tied the game here. Pop up to shallow center. Not deep, and probably not deep enough to where there was no chance he was going. But this is kind of where it goes into the having your game notes and stuff, right? Going into these games. Who are my speedy runners? I think maybe this Miami kid just had good wheels and wanted to make Kyle make a perfect throw. But it didn't look like he was really ready for the tag, right? He didn't necessarily get behind it, come through it, come up throwing. I think he just kind of expected that Miami guy to stay. And seemed maybe a little shocked once he saw him running. The throw didn't get there in time. It was still bang bang play, little off to the right of the catcher. But I just don't know if Jones was as ready for that tag up as he should have been. That's again kind of like the Miller thing in the first inning, right? Just a mental mistake, right? There are errors where, hey, you're not perfect, right? Sometimes the ball hops up on you. Sometimes something happens, right? Errors, you're not perfect. Mental errors are a different thing, right? Mental errors are every time Kyle Jones gets a pop up in center field with a runner on third, he should be catching, coming through, and throwing. Right. And so maybe the ball drifted on him a little bit at the end and maybe got him on his heels a little more than he wanted to. So a lot of factors there. But in terms of these mental errors, right, I think definitely a play where Jones probably would have done a little differently looking back on it. Evans, the Miami pitcher, looked really good. Nasty stuff, right? He was a sinker, slider, changeup. I mean, he was kind of all over the place from that left side, low 90s. He's going to have a good year at Miami. So a really good pitching duel Saturday night between really all the guys that were on the mound. Small ball, right? Miller doesn't get a bunt down. So he misses the bunt on the first attempt. Second one he pulls, I believe, and it was a high curveball that caught the top of the zone, strike two. I've always been a fan of just, hey, if you're going to put the bunt on, you put the bunt on. It stays there the whole at bat. I don't care if you have two strikes, you're getting that bunt down. The Gators said otherwise, right? He got to two strikes. They let him swing. He kind of battled, took some good pitches, ends up getting walked. So good at bat from Sam Miller to get the walk. Didn't get his bunts down. I think that's twice now. Maybe the other one was Colt back in the past. But anyways, right, we're choosing to play small ball in certain situations, not necessarily executing to the level that we want to execute it at. We'll see what happens as SEC play comes around, right? But these bunts should be easy to get down, easy enough, right? Some of these other pitchers, they have some pretty nasty stuff. So it's not easy. But first and second no outs, you have to get a bunt down to get those runners over. Those are easy runs. Just you got to play good baseball. So interesting to see how often Sully and the guys will choose to play small ball there. Next game note here, right? So in that Saturday game, we saw errors by Sam Miller. We saw an error by Colt Myers. 0 errors by Brendan Lawson, right? So all season we've kind of been talking about, hey, if Brendan can't play short properly, right, you're going to see Miller, you're going to see Myers backfill him. This is one of those games where, hey, Brendan played great in the field, and we had errors by Miller and Myers. So I don't think we expect to see Brendan moving anytime soon. So, and then the next one, man, hey, was that a balk? All right, so let's talk about it. Was that a balk, right? And shout out All Kinds of Weather. Right, I saw Neil posted this video on his Twitter. Miami coach was not happy. Right, you had bases loaded, 2 outs, Brendan Lawson up. This is one of those situations we were just talking about in the game notes, man. Bases loaded, no outs. We go strikeout. Right, so this was the Kendall Kyle Jones inning. Strikeout. If they don't call a balk here, we waste bases loaded, no outs, and we score 0 runs from it. So absolutely unacceptable that was about to happen. But let's watch here, man. Miami coach not happy about it. Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. But it's the stop and start here. So a lot of stop and start. Does he actually fully stop, right? It seemed like the Gator dugout was all over it kind of multiple times that inning, right? So he goes to come set, stop, start, never really pauses, right? And I think the Gator dugout was kind of on him all innings. It seemed like this was something this guy was doing, right? Because at this point now, your bases loaded, no outs. So he's pitched a lot from the stretch. And he was kind of doing this little twitchy thing, stop, start. And you can look in the background here, right? I think the whole Gator dugout jumped up and saw it and was trying to call that out to the umpire. So interesting stuff, right? A big call in that moment that just ended the inning to stop that. Miami coach rightfully upset, but hey, I think a good call. I think that was a balk, and I'm glad the umpire finally called it after that kid kind of doing it all inning. All right, jumping back over to the game notes. This lineup is dangerous, man. This lineup continues to just score runs. I mean, 15 runs across 2 games against a top 20, 25 team in Miami. Really, really dangerous stuff. They intentionally walk, right? We got a highlight for this one as well. Here's another, right, Suro smash, man. They intentionally walk Brendan Lawson to get to our 3-hole, which is fine, right? Brendan Lawson, one of the best hitters in college baseball. But top 9, up 1, you intentionally walk Brendan Lawson to put 2 guys on for Surowick. Man, and he absolutely smoked this baseball. Got that very, like, uppercut swing to him. It works really well as he hits balls backside. I mean, I think that thing cleared the scoreboard. I mean, and he's pumped, right? He knows he just took a 1-run lead and made it 4, and he's having a blast, man. This kid, I don't know how Ole Miss let this kid walk. I know he got buried in the lineup a little bit last year with them, and then went and played some fall ball last year and had a really good fall. He was a late transfer into Gainesville. I don't know how Ole Miss let this kid walk, man, but he is, I mean, making plays at third, hitting 3-hole for us. Everything we wanted out of this kid, man. Sherwick is hitting the ball right now. All right, and then just wrapping up these game notes, right? Those 2 lines at the bottom, you unfortunately can't see. Back-to-back nights where the bullpen is shoved, right? Back-to-back nights where we were going into that Sunday game. If it wouldn't have gotten rained out, we would have had Luke. We would have had Sandifer. I mean, we had some stud arms that were still ready to come out and throw on Sunday. So we were absolutely loaded. Bullpen, once again, absolutely shoves. Incredible night, Saturday night out of them. Series is over before Sunday. All right, we take the first 2. We take the series. I think that's 11 of the last 12 against Miami for Sully. 40-something and 19. I mean, just absolutely dominates little bro down south. So series is over before Sunday, and I just put time to sweep. Obviously, we knew there was a rain out, so unfortunate stuff there. And let's get into that, right? So Sunday, we would have seen Cooper Walls, right? We don't get the Cooper Walls start on Sunday. So I do expect maybe to see him in a controlled outing like we've seen with Luke recently. Maybe he comes out and throws a couple innings Tuesday. You'd expect it to be on Tuesday, right? Because you don't really want this kid to go 2 weeks without throwing. Maybe he just does a simulated bullpen because there were arms, right? Sandifer got to get some innings for him. Luke got to get some innings for him. So, and you still want to kind of test out some of these younger guys. You want to put a Jackson Hoyt. You want like these kids that, hey, maybe aren't throwing the most strikes, but we're going to keep giving you opportunities in these Tuesday and Wednesday games because we want you to get your confidence, right? We want you to be a guy that we can lean on and rely on. So maybe Cooper Walls gets a controlled start on Tuesday. Maybe he just throws kind of a bullpen simulated, maybe some live BP or something that we don't get to see. So we'll hear more about that probably Monday or Tuesday. Miami wanted no part of these Gators. Man, the bats were hot. We were hitting. They saw we had a loaded bullpen ready to go on Sunday. They saw that rain start falling. They said, "Hey, let's call it. Get us out of here, man. We're getting home." So I know Daniel Cuvet, man, 0 for 7 on the weekend. He said, "Hey, let's get me out of here, man. Get me back in the cages. I want to go see some of this lower level competition again. I don't want these Gators down here anymore." So really good stuff to see, man. Good weekend out of these Gators. 11-1. Headed into FAU and FAMU. We'll spend just a couple seconds talking about them, but let's dive over into some advanced metrics from Saturday. All right, so advanced metrics on Saturday, 439 QABs, right? A little under that average, above average, I guess, but a little under the average that you want to see. Can still win you ball games. First man on offense, 2 for 9, 222, right? So 2 for 9 in both the Friday and Saturday games. Not the best, but you can see Miami 0 for 9. That's what you want out as a pitching staff, man. You go get your first out of the inning 9 times, you're going to win ball games. That's going to win you ball games. Really good stuff to see. Aiden King, I believe, his first outing of the season that isn't a quality start, and unfortunately gets eaten up by the cramps there. So 2 1/3, no earned. We just got to get Aiden back. No issues with any of his performance here. Just got to get Aiden back and healthy. And then freebies, right? Shout out the Gator D on Twitter. He messaged me and said, "Hey, I think that might have been the first game where we lose the freebie battle and win the game." And I said, me too. Right? I use this stats.ncaa.org. It's the box scores we walk through. Because ESPN, man, is horrible. And I see there's a diamond something that's trying to make an app. Man, I would love to get a new app for some college baseball. ESPN doesn't show you box scores anymore. This stats.ncaa.org, you kind of have to wait till the game's over. So I was just kind of go through in my head. I was looking at like walks and stuff and errors. And, but I think that intentional walk in the 9th inning on Brendan Lawson. I'm not sure if there was any others, but hey, I also thought we lost that freebie battle. Right. And then as I went in and did the math and stuff, right, 3 walks, 2 hit by pitch, 2 errors, and a wild pitch by Florida. 5 walks, 1 hit by pitch, 1 wild pitch, and a balk. A huge balk by Miami. Right, so I think it was that intentional walk in the 9th that actually tied the freebie battle up. So once again, right, we tie the freebie battle, we win the game. Right, so this is 11-1 on the season. We've won the freebie battle 9 times. We've won all 9 of those games. We lost the freebie battle once. We lost that opening game to UAB. We have now tied the freebie battle twice. In both of those games, we won. So it really is a metric, man, and it's holding true. Just don't lose the freebie battle, and you got a chance to win the ball game, man. I'm about to start making shirts that just say no freebies because it is such a simple concept in baseball. So good stuff there. All right, let's dive into QABs, right? Brennan Lawson, once again, 4 for 5. Cash Strayer, another 3 for 4 day. Kid just comes down into Miami and is like, I guess I'm not a freshman. I don't know. This kid's just playing absolutely out of his mind. Caden McDonald, right? 2 for 3 on QABs. Sam Miller, 2 for 3. Sear and Jones both kind of had down weekends, maybe at the plate, right? Kyle had a pretty big hit. I know Sear had a couple hits, I believe. So whatever, right? This team has the guys where we talked about it. A couple guys are going to get cold. We've got the bats that can pick them up elsewhere. Those two kids have been absolutely red hot to start spring. So you don't expect, as baseball, right? It's a sport of failure. You don't expect them to be hitting as well as they have been all year. Yosti goes 1 for 1. Surwick, Bowen, not the best days at the plate, 1 for 5 each. Then Myers, Kendall, Nadu, Stripling, right? Just a couple at bats amongst those guys. So our QABs for the weekend. All right, we'll jump quickly over to the box score here. Kind of did these out of order. Kyle Jones, 2 for 5, 2 doubles, 4 total bases, 2 RBIs. Brendan Lawson, 0 for 3 in this one, but had 2 walks. Right, we out hit Miami in this one 8-6. You can see we had the 2 errors, though. They didn't have any. So again, right, not the cleanest game of baseball. Surwick, 1 for 5, 3 RBIs. He had that big home run. Bowen, 1 for 5. Sear, 1 for 5. Strayer, 2 for 3, 3 total bases. Caden McDonald was 0 for 2 with the walk, right? We said 2 for 3 in the QABs there, though, so doesn't always translate to the box scores. Then rest of the way, kind of Sam Miller, 1 for 2. Good RBI after that error in the first inning. So good stuff out of the bats, right? Enough to win you a ball game. We talked pitching. Aiden King, right, goes 2 1/3, 2 hits, 3 runs, 0 earned, though, because of that error by Miller in the first that resulted in that Derek Williams home run. So still no earned runs from Aiden. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Ricky Reith, man, hey, we're giving Ricky the ball. Man, a guy out of the bullpen, you probably don't expect to get game balls very often. But in this situation here, Aiden King goes down. Right? He was kind of cruising too. I know those bullpen guys were not up and getting warm or loose at all. They weren't even thinking about that. So Ricky to come in, man, 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, faced 16 batters, ate up some innings like we needed him to do out of the pen, man. Ricky Reith, great stuff, man. Game ball on Saturday is going to go to you. Great job. Ernesto Lugo Conchola continues to be the 6'5" lefty dude. 1 2/3, no hits, no earned runs, 3 strikeouts. I love this kid's energy. When he's pitching in conference games and Conjuring, this kid's going to be doing backflips on the mound. The strut, right? The Ernesto strut. We're going to start calling it. He punches a kid, and that kid just starts strutting around the mound as that ball gets thrown around. So really love watching this kid pitch, man. He's been so much fun so far his career in Gainesville. Then Josh Reitner, right? 1 inning, 1 hit, a walk and a strikeout, right? So I believe Adrian last week had mentioned when he threw last weekend that it seemed like his release point, right? He was starting to figure that out a little bit. When you throw 100, right, that release point's crucial. And if you don't feel it, and that can be a night in, night out thing, right? That's not going to be once you figure it out, you fix it. If he can find that release point, this kid's going to be absolutely dominant. I think they had said Sproat was kind of similar back in the day. Brandon Sproat, one of the really good pitchers to come out of this program, right? Pitching in the big leagues, and he kind of had to figure it out a little bit, right? Throwing hard at this age, right? You just got to find your release point, see what works for you. And I think Reitner's starting to figure it out a little bit, man. And he's getting the love on it, man. Look at the run on that fastball. I mean, to get that, right? And I think PG College Baseball here, electric arm, right? 98 to 100, topped at 101, 2,580 RPMs. That's elite. With run and ride traits, right? Slider 92 to 94 with a 2,800 RPM. Change up at around 90. So this kid's mixing his pitches well. You really love to see it. I think this kid, right? We had talked about him and Barberry probably battling for the closer spot. I'm not even worried about that anymore. Jackson's been pitching so well. Let's not even talk about that. We just want this kid to figure it out, right? You just keep seeing good innings out of this kid. And that's going to come in the form of walks, right? Being able to throw strikes, being able to throw those 3 pitches, fastball, slider, changeup, like we just talked about, being able to throw all those for strikes. If he's doing that and night in, night out, he's going to be impossible to hit. So really good stuff. I think Josh Reitner has a really bright future. He's going to be one of the next really, really good Gator pitchers that comes out of this program and goes on to have an MLB career. So really fun stuff. This kid's fun to watch. And then finally jumping down to fielding, 2 errors on this one, right? Sam Miller and Colt Myers. We talked about it. Pretty big one by Sam Miller. Would have ended the inning, ended up being a 3-run home run right after. That's baseball. It's just what happens. Okay stuff, right? These guys will clean it up. These are 2 of our better gloves, defensive gloves. So no worries there. Just really good to see that Brennan Lawson's playing better at short, right? He had a couple nice plays. There was a couple like slow rollers, choppers up the middle that he didn't make the play, and they were extra effort, so they didn't get called errors. Those are plays you'd like to see him start making, although they're not showing up as errors in the box score, right? I'd like to see some of these extra effort plays get made by Brendan, but he had a really nice one Friday night to end the game, similar play. So good stuff out of the Gators here, man. 8-4. Really good win, really battled, right? Kind of like what Sully talked about on that Friday game. Faced adversity, right? Friday night, we faced it kind of tying the game up. Saturday, we faced it with that 3-run first after the error, and the boys just answered. They responded, immediately took a lead in the top of the second, and never really looked back. And then to be up 5-4 and come into this one, come into that top of the 9th inning, and to put 3 up, those insurance runs that they call it, take the 8-4 lead. And then similar to what we talked about Friday night, right? Hey, now you're up 4. You're just going to kind of go fill it up a little bit. If they hit you around, maybe score a run or 2, no big deal. We're up 4. That's the momentum stuff that kind of carries into the next games. We don't want these guys to get confident at the plate. And Reitner comes in and just shuts the door on this one too. So really good stuff out of these Florida Gators, man. Hey, we got an Omaha ceiling, right? We say it every year. That's what you expect out of this program. But this team is really good, right? The SEC is really good when it comes to college baseball. I think right now, PG, D1, stuff like that have us ranked top 10, 7 to 10 range normally is where we're at. Really good ball clubs in the SEC. So we got to keep figuring things out before conference play starts. But this is a team right now, right? You expect to probably host a regional, and Omaha is always the goal, man. And that's the ceiling of this team. This team's deep. This team's talented. And a really good test, right? We talked about Miami being our first test of the year. Really, really good stuff this weekend out of the boys. All right. This video's gone on pretty long already, right? We really dove into those Friday, Saturday games. So quickly, we're just going to dive into QABs on the season. It's just kind of where we're at right now. We dipped under that 600. I think we were 601 or something after last weekend or after the weekday games this week. 581, still almost elite, right? Way above average. Really good stuff out of the bats. Brendan Lawson's up over 700. Cash Strayer's over 680. We talked Carson Bowen, right? He's come down a little bit, right? Those QABs are starting to drop a little bit, but he's still right around that 600 mark. So a lot of really good numbers here from these guys. A lot of dudes that are everyday starters over 500. So that's winning baseball at the plate. We love to see that. All right, we'll quickly jump over into FAU and FAMU. We're not going to spend a ton of time diving into these teams since we're only playing a 1-game series with them. Starting with FAU, right? They play in the American Athletic Conference. Preseason coaches poll had FAU projected to finish 6th out of 10 in that AAC conference. So not the best, right? And that conference really isn't that high of a level of baseball either. So to be projected at 6, not a great ball club. It's kind of what we've seen out of our weekday opponents so far this season. But the difference here with FAU, right? And we're going to pull up they're 6-5 on the season, on a 3-game win streak. These guys, their schedule's been tough to start this season, right? They start with Notre Dame. They actually take game 1 7-1 versus Notre Dame. End up only scoring 2 the rest of the weekend, right? Notre Dame ends up taking the series, but they went Notre Dame, Missouri, Iowa, Miami. I mean, those are all high D1 baseball programs. For a team like FAU, right? Not the easiest. They beat Missouri. They took 1 of 3 from Iowa, and then kind of hung with Miami, right? 11-7. So It'll be interesting to see how good of a program this FAU team is. They just got done sweeping Villanova over the weekend. You can see they're 11-11-15, right? The bats are hitting pretty well. 296 batting average on the year so far. 0.6 home runs per game, 1.5 doubles per game, 0.3 triples per game, scoring right around 5 to 6 runs a game. So it'll be interesting to see, man. They got the Kyle Boylston hitting 444. Romano leading the team with 2 bombs, 8 ribbies. So it'll be interesting to watch this FAU team, and definitely not the level caliber competition wise as Miami, right? You'd expect this to be kind of like a Stetson or some of those lower level weekday opponents that we've played so far. But hey, we know these weekday games have plagued Florida in the past. We've seen it all across the SEC so far this season, right? I think Tennessee, we got a lot of teams that have been dropping some weekday games unexpectedly. And Florida has yet to do so, right? So continuing to just play your ball. I think we have the bats this year, top to bottom, where we're going to put runs up on anybody. So don't walk guys. Starters go into your job. Bullpen come into your job, right? Defense, don't make errors. No freebies. No mental mistakes. Just go out and play good baseball, man. We're going to put runs up. So interesting to see how this FAU team plays, man. The biggest takeaway for me is that they've played some good competition so far this year, right? So that this isn't a team like Miami that has played a bunch of nobodies and Florida's going to be their first test, right? We are very much, this is a FAU team that's already battle tested. They're going to be ready to see us. So got to come out and play our best ball. And then finally, we will jump over to FAMU. FAMU plays in the Southwestern Atlantic Conference, the SWAC. And they were projected to finish near the top, right? One of the better SWAC teams. Didn't have any guys make any preseason watch lists or anything like that, right? Definitely a lower, even lower than FAU, right? A little bit lower of a competition level. So we'll be interested to see how these guys decide to come into Gainesville and play this week. But let's take a look at their schedule, right? They're 3-8. And unlike FAU, these guys haven't played anybody, right? Eastern Illinois, North Florida, Alabama State, Bethune-Cookman, Southern U, Mercer, Central, Connecticut Street? What even is that? Central, can someone tell me? Central Connecticut State. What a dummy. Why am I saying street? Oh my goodness. State. That was so dumb. Street. What are we talking about? So this team's 3-8, right? They don't play again until us. So we'll play FAU Tuesday. They've already started preparing for us Wednesday. So they're hitting 200 on the season. Slugging 275, on base 309. Not good. Only scoring a little over 3 runs a game. Their leading batting average is 323. Only nobody on the team has more than 1 home run on the season. Not a very good ball club. I think if you're going to see Cooper Walsh pitch, it's probably going to be FAU on Tuesday. I'd expect this FAMU team, maybe we throw out Billy Barlow Wednesday. Let him try to go get his command. Right, with a team like this, you just go out and throw strikes. You should be able to dominate. Get him some. Maybe get some of the younger guys or the guys that haven't thrown a ton, get them some reps, maybe some confidence in their arms. So not expecting a ton out of these weekday series, right? FAU is going to be tougher than FAMU, but again, just like weekday series over the past couple years, you Gators come in, play their ball, we'll take care of business. Normally when we drop these weekday games, it's us beating ourselves. So just got to keep playing our ball, right? Coming off a really good weekend at Miami. I don't expect anything to change with these guys. All right, guys. So I'll probably be back Thursday. I'll post a video Thursday. We'll talk through the FAU. We'll talk through FAMU. We'll highlight that weekend series with High Point coming up this weekend. And then next week, right, we got Florida State during the weekday. And then we get South Carolina, that first SEC play the following weekend. So expect a video Thursday. We'll talk these Tuesday, Wednesday games. We'll talk about High Point, and we'll prepare for that Florida State, that rivalry there. Hey, really appreciate you guys, man. I've had so much fun talking with you guys. We did a hat giveaway on Twitter. Got to give away a couple of these hats to some guys that are very involved, and really love talking with them. So Really appreciate you guys, man. Gator baseball season, we're a quarter of the way, like I said, right? Coming out of this Miami series, we're going to be about a fourth of the way through the regular season at least. So, really good stuff I think we've seen out of these Gators so far. Starting pitching starting to round out as long as Aiden King's okay. Bats are everything we could have probably wanted and more, right? Kyle Jones, Brendan Lawson, Surwick, Castro. I mean, these guys, we've had guys all over the place that are getting some national recognition at this point. So 11-1, really good start to the season. Just need to keep that rolling, get through these 2 weekdays, get through High Point, and then we'll really start to play some real baseball. So, hey, make sure you're subscribed to Hightop Baseball. Hit that bell, right? If you like to watch these videos, hit that bell so that when I post something, you guys will get you'll get notified from it. In the description here of the video, I always put our other socials. I'm very involved on Twitter, so Florida Sports Takes. You guys ever want to go follow me over there? Let's have some conversations and stuff, man. But really good stuff, guys. Really fun weekend down there in Miami. As always, guys, God bless and go Gators.